Ladies and gentlemen, I have some exciting news for you all. I read a book. This is the first book in a series of books about the wizard Elminster, who you just might recognize from a little game called Baldur's Gate 3. After reading the book, I got to thinking, I wonder if they adapted this into a movie yet. So of course I went searching for D&D movies, and while I did not find an Elminster movie, I did find a movie simply called Dungeons and Dragons from the year 2000. And the most exciting part about this find is that it has some terrible reviews. After finding this Dungeons and Dragons movie, I of course watched it totally legally. I won't spoil whether I think it is better or worse than what the reviews say, but because I've never really made a video like this video is almost certainly not going to be monetized. So please bear with me while I do a little ad read that actually the intro to the ad read was for a different video, so I'm going to talk about modding video games. You can just ignore that part. And while I do that, please like the video and subscribe. If I say subscribe enough, the button should start glowing. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Yeah, it probably doesn't glow if you're already subscribed. I don't know. But alright, ad boy, get to it. Something people don't always keep in mind when it comes to modding their games is that there are a lot of dangerous files out there, and it can be hard to know what's safe and what isn't. That's why I am thankful for folks like today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN. Surfshark is a VPN that has been specifically optimized for gaming. It's as close to a no-lag VPN as you can get, given they have over 4,500 VPN servers spread across 140 different locations, meaning no matter where you are, you shouldn't be too far to get great service. Tie that together with the facts that Surfshark gives you access to worldwide matchmaking and that they have no bandwidth limitation, and it's hard to even imagine a better VPN for gamers. But Surfshark isn't just useful for playing games. They can also censor potentially harmful content, keep you safe while using public Wi-Fi, change your geolocation, which allows you to watch even more content across your favorite streaming platforms, and there is no limit to the amount of devices you can use Surfshark on, so you can have all of these benefits and more across your mobile, home, and work devices. They also have clean web ad blocking and email scanning features, which help keep your online browsing experience both safe and clean. And right now is a great time to give Surfshark a try, because if you click the link in the description and use code DumpyKong at checkout, or scan the QR code you see on screen to head to the personalized landing page, then you can get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN for free. Don't wait to make your online experience better and safer than it has ever been. Thank you to Surfshark for supporting the channel. Now back to the video. So just for a little context, like I mentioned before, this movie was released in the year 2000, and this is before the Star Wars prequel trilogy, and this is also before Lord of the Rings, so it'll be kind of interesting to see what a fantasy movie before, not that long before the Lord of the Rings movies, but before it kind of looked like. Keep that in the back of your mind, and also maybe store alongside that Gary Gygax was a co-writer for this movie, the co-creator of Dungeons and Dragons. Not this movie, the game. And so while this movie will have nothing to do with 5th edition, it should be pretty accurate to 2nd and AD&D. And actually, funny enough, the Dungeons and Dragons movie starts just like the Lord of the Rings with a little exposition dump. Although there's not really anything fun to look at here, it's just kind of a bunch of clouds. Well, this expedition dump basically just tells us what the IMDb summary would tell you, which is that Profion, a tyrant, attempts to overthrow a peaceful kingdom ruled by a tough empress. That summary is really funny as somebody who has watched this movie actually a couple times now, but we'll get to that much later, why that's funny. After the exposition dump though, we get an awesome CGI flyover shot, and to be honest with you, for the year 2000, this doesn't look half bad. We're actually gonna see a lot of these CG shots, so get used to that. But then we are sort of introduced to who is going to be the overarching antagonist for this movie, Profion. Profion is not a good villain. He is just the most generic evil mage character maybe ever made, which honestly for a movie like this should be fine, but he is just so over the top with his evilness that it makes it really hard to take him seriously. And what the fuck is with this guy's blue lipstick? There's nothing wrong with him wearing lipstick, it's just the color. Why? Talk about can't take somebody seriously. Well, what Profion wants is to control dragons, and he has somehow managed to catch one to test his little dragon controlling scepter thing on. But it doesn't work out and he is shit out of luck. Now real quick, and I'm sorry to keep pausing, but this is important. What kind of dragon is that? I mean, this matters to you guys too, right? Not just me. Am I just a fucking nerd? I mean, I guess it's kind of yellowish and it's breathing fire, so I could give you that it's a brass or a gold dragon, but if you look at the art for AD&D or 2nd edition, it doesn't look anything like either of those. So it's just funny that Gary Gygax, even if he has a very tiny role in writing this movie, him being part of it at all should kind of negate these little inconsistencies. And also, how the fuck did they get a dragon down here if the scepter doesn't work? Whatever, we gotta move on. Well, the dragon's blood lights this river lake thing on fire for some reason, and watching it all go down are two of our main protagonists, Ridley and Snails. Now, if you are anything like me, then you might know Marlon Wayans from his comedic roles, like in Scary Movie, but in this movie, he takes a very serious, and I'm just kidding, he is the comic relief in this movie, of course. And he is so funny and so natural in this movie that it is almost a detriment. It's like every time he's on screen, he is all I care about. Ridley, on the other hand, is a little bit less interesting, but not really bad, just sort of more generic. Well, Ridley gets the idea while the fire is going on to go rob the School of Magic. Sounds kind of dangerous. But he figures that with the fire going on, maybe they can get away with it. Seems kind of convenient, but there is no time to think about that because we've got another amazing CGI panning shot. Well, back to Profion, you can pretty much see him as Emperor Palpatine and the Empress is Padme. He is just so passionately evil that it leaves absolutely no room to believe that the people that are hearing him speak are not fully aware of his horrible intentions. I don't know. I get that it's kind of supposed to be like this caricature of good and bad, but, and nothing against Jeremy Irons. He is great in other things, but I think the writing for Profion just really turns him into a cartoon character. Also, he mentions taking a scepter from the Empress, but keep that in mind. We'll get back to that later. Another awesome CG shot takes us to the Empress herself, and she is the complete and utter opposite of Profion. Like Ibuprofen, she is a caricature, and that's fine. For this sort of fantasy movie, I get it. But anyways, her advisor, maybe, or mentor or something, this old guy, Vildan, tells the Empress that he's been searching for a rod that has the same properties as her own scepter, except it controls red dragons. So we're gonna just pause again for just a second. You're telling me that they are aware of the different colors of dragons, and we still got that weird racially ambiguous dragon from earlier? But I guess the point of them seeking the red dragon rod is to have backup from Profion if he does manage to force the Empress to hand over her scepter, which I don't even know if I mentioned, controls other dragons. Presumably metallic dragons? I don't know. They don't specify. It just says it controls dragons. Unfortunately for those two though, Profion has a little imp spy listening in, and he lets out a great example of that cartoonish evil I keep talking about.
I must have that rod of Saphrael.
Profion tells his blue-lipped buddy Damodar to pay a visit to Vildan and try and get some information about where that red dragon rod is. That leads us, of course, to yet another beautiful CG shot, but it takes us to the School of Magic where Dumb and Dumber are breaking in. Now, far and away, I think the best part of this entire movie is the relationship between Ridley and Snails.
And who'd he catch? Me. And who'd he beat from the waist down? Me.
Are you gonna jump?
It's such a beautiful sequence. I don't know. It feels so out of place for a movie like this for such good like comedic timing. I love that.
All right.
Sorry.
There's some fun VFX shots while they rob the place, but eventually this girl named Marina shows up and busts our not-so-heroes. She is an apprentice mage, which is more than enough to be able to stop these two, and there's a funny shot of her using like a spell to put a rope around them, which is very obviously CGI at first, then it cuts back to her, and then when it cuts back to them, it's a real rope around them. I like that kind of stuff a lot. They really saved the CG team a big headache by switching from a fake rope to a real one. The dialogue, though, is a bit of a headache.
Yeah, it must be the only way she can get guys to come home with her.
I'd have to put a feeble mind spell on myself to want to take you home.
I think Marina's actress, who I wish nothing but the best, is a little bit dry in these situations, at least early on. Anywho, they hear Vildan under attack by Damodar, and so Marina pulls the boys along with her to check it out. Damodar, similarly to Profion, has a very silly, cartoonish way about him. He talks in this deep, whispery voice, and it sounds kind of funny, but he snaps Vildan's neck, R.I.P., and Marina snatches the map to the red dragon rod and then opens a portal and pulls both Snails and Ridley along with her. They probably should have closed it though, because Damodar just follows after them through that portal, but the team falls into this weird pile of something, and out from the pile pops a red-headed dwarf. To be completely honest with you, and it's a little embarrassing to say, I don't know what the dwarf's name is. They probably said it, but it clearly did not stick. Well, Damodar has cool shredder claws, but they don't do him much good when the dwarf hits him with this dope-ass sweeping kick. The boys, the dwarf, and Marina all escape through the sewers, and I guess this is our party now. We get yet another CG shot, I told you there's a lot of them, and we see Profion punishing Damodar for failing to get the map. And Profion does something to Blue Lips, and to be honest with you, I don't know what the fuck he did to him, but it is gross. Profion tells Damodar that there is somebody named Norda tracking the team, and for Damodar to follow this person so that he can catch up with them and get that map. And if Damodar can get the map for Profion, then Profion will cure Damodar of whatever the fuck he just did to him. Hard cut now to this bar place, and what the fuck is that? While the gang is in the bar and talking, Ridley drops this insane line.
Yeah, well, have you ever heard of honor amongst thieves?
Honor among thieves, huh? Yeah, Ridley, I have heard of it. How the fuck did you hear about it? The conversation had here, though, is actually pretty well representative of D&D. The commoners think all mages are evil, and all mages think commoners are beneath them. It's kind of nice to see. They are trying to decipher the map to the red dragon rod thing. I'm just realizing I don't know the name of it, so I'm gonna keep calling it the red dragon rod. I think I write it later in the script. It'll come back. Well, while looking at the map, Ridley is actually the one to crack it by putting his fingers on it and saying some words he said his dad used to say when he was looking at maps, and then this is not ever explored any further. This happens, it works, and then they don't ever talk about it again, and we don't ever get to learn anything about Ridley's dad. Awesome. Marina follows Ridley into the map, leaving Snails and the dwarf guy in the bar. Well, Snails spots an elf baddie and does his best to spit some game, but it becomes all too clear, to the viewer at least, in this moment that this elf lady is the Norda person that Profion was talking about. But before we can learn anything about her, Damodar shows up, and the dwarf actually has a genius idea to start a bar fight so that they can cause some chaos and get away, and him and Snails run off, but while they're running, Snails drops he's just so funny.
Wait, I gotta go back. I think I'm in love with an elf. They think humans are a joke. All right, I lied. I just want to hit it.
Well, the two of them get away, and when they do, Marina and Ridley pop back out of the map, bickering like an old married couple. What they learned is that they need to find something called the Eye of the Dragon so that they can get the rod that they're looking for, and that eye thing is apparently with the leader of the Thieves Guild named Xylus. But like I said earlier, anytime Ridley and Snails are together, it is just fucking magic. The chemistry there is insanely good. I gotta wonder if they knew each other in real life. Well, the boys agree to help Marina with her mission to find this red dragon rod so that they can sell the Eye of the Dragon afterward, and the dwarf joins them because he's got fuck all else to do. Also, he's gotta stop looking into the camera. He is freaking me out. I guess I'm looking into the camera right now, but I think it's different. Well, we can safely jump forward in the movie a little bit without missing anything when the gang does eventually reach the Thieves Guild and meets their leader Xylus, and he just spanks Marina in this really creepy way, and I guess this kind of thing mattered less back then, but I did not like that. But Xylus has this weird little maze thing that I guess if Ridley completes, then he can have the Eye of the Dragon, which at first felt completely and utterly asinine, but after watching Ridley show off his moves a little bit, he eventually reaches the end of the maze, picks this lock, opens it, gets the Eye of the Dragon, and then Xylus reveals that he couldn't pick the lock, nor could anybody that he knew, and so he made the whole maze just to basically find somebody who was capable of doing the lockpicking. It doesn't really make that much sense, but it's kind of funny. I don't know. I like it. Ridley sees the future once again.
What about honor amongst thieves?
And then Damodar shows up to punish him for it. Well, actually, he wants the map that leads to the rod, but instead of Ridley threatening to burn it, he just lights the thing on fire and tells him he'll put it out if Damodar fucks off. That is hardcore, man. He didn't even give Homeboy a choice. I like that. But some chaos ensues. Ridley ends up dropping the map, and Marina is crawling to grab it, and there is this really funny shot of her grabbing the map, and then Damodar steps on it, except he doesn't. He just misses the map. He is not standing on it. And then it cuts to another angle, and he is still not standing on the map. Maybe they didn't want to ruin the prop or something, but either way, it looks insane. But Damodar does end up kidnapping Marina, and Ridley isn't quite quick enough to catch them. Him and Snails are just in time, though, to get caught up by that elf lady Norda, who has some ridiculously pointy boobs. We get a full explanation of her mission, though, and she actually works for the Empress, and her goal was to catch Marina so that she could get the scroll and bring it back to the Empress. But now that Marina has been kidnapped, Norda has to work together with the team to bring her back and get that map. So this is it. This is our full party of 5. Well, I guess it's 4 at the moment because Marina's gone, but you get what I'm saying. And also they got FaceTime. That's cool. I guess, you know, this was back when that sort of thing was just a fantasy. That's crazy. There is yet another 6 CG shot, and we see what's going on with Marina, and damn, they beat the shit out of that girl. That made me sad. I don't know. I don't like that. Why is everybody so mean to Marina in this fucking movie? Well, her and Damodar actually have this like weirdly dramatic and well played scene together where Damodar kind of tells Marina that he has no choice but to be working for Profion now that Profion did whatever he did to him. I wish I knew what he put in his head, but the point is Damodar does a really good job here of seeming desperate and dramatic, and it's great. But he kind of skips the interrogation here and uses these nasty little ear tentacle things to just take whatever information from Marina's head that he wants. She is having a bad fucking day. Jump back now to the dwarf guy, and he reveals that dwarves are apparently afraid of horses, and I don't know if this is representative of what dwarves in D&D are supposed to be like, but I have never heard this before. But either way, he does this awesome cry after they make fun of him that just, I can't hear it right now, but I'm trying not to laugh just thinking about it. And the next day begins with another CG shot. I told you there's so many of these. And our party does eventually find Damodar's hideout. And hey, check it out, they got Beholder guard dogs. Doesn't really make any sense, to be honest. Beholders are kind of the opposite of subservient, but it's cool. Well, the boys split up. Ridley goes after Marina, and Snails goes after the map. They share this cute little moment, though, where Ridley tells his friend to be careful, and Snails...
Hey, Ridley. You too.
God, he is just too fucking good. After some hijinks, Snails does find the map, but Damodar finds him. Cut now to Ridley, who has a surprisingly easy time finding Marina, who is rightfully pretty happy to see a friendly face after the horrible day she has had. I'd be pretty happy to see somebody I know too. Well, while those two escape, cut now back to Snails, and he is getting his shit rocked. During this scene though, Damodar drops the worst fucking stinker I think I've ever heard.
Just like you thieves, always taking things that don't belong to you.
Yeah, Damodar, that's what a thief does, you fucking idiot. Why did they put this line in there? I hate it. Well, he makes up for it a little bit with this very unrealistic, but also very awesome disarm, and then Snails runs away. Ridley gets into a 2v1 sword fight, and Marina has the most awful looking stunt work I think I have ever seen. She basically just pokes this guy with a stick and knocks him out, but then the two of them keep it moving. We're cutting back and forth all over the place now, because we are back to Snails, and he has reached a dead end in this place. Damodar is on his tail, and Snails gives it his best shot, but once Damodar gets his hands on our boy, he beats the fuck out of him. Finally, Ridley and Marina catch up, but by the time they reach them, Snails is on death's door. Snails knows there's no real way out of this, so in one final act of defiance, he tosses the map away from Damodar. Damodar stabs Snails and tosses his lifeless body off the cliff. Ridley, of course, attacks Damodar, but he is just no match, and he gets a sword through the shoulder. It's gross. But before Ridley can be finished off, Marina grabs some spell components that actually came from Snails earlier and blasts Damodar, then opens a portal, and they just manage to get away. Snails, however, is dead. And honestly, man, that shit made me so sad. I was worried they were gonna just like have him get up and like get away, but it seems like they made death stick, which is something that a lot of modern media feels like it's too scared to do. So obviously I'm sad that Snails is dead, but I am glad to see that they are letting consequences exist. Once again, we cut, with no fun CGI this time, to the Empress. The council is ordering her to give up her scepter like she feared, but she is doing her best to stand on that shit, and I like her a lot in this scene. I also like Snails, and he's dead. Sorry, I didn't really have a way of transitioning back to the gang. Ridley is in bad shape after getting stabbed, of course, but thankfully they have reached the CG elf town, and there is a healer there who gets him all fixed up. This guy, the elf healer guy, actually drops some solid D&D relevant dialogue. He talks about how elves don't just use magic, they are part of magic. It's a very elf-like thing to say, but somebody tell the dwarf to stop fucking looking at the camera. I hate it. Well, the movie keeps up its surprising emotional depth when we jump to Ridley, who's kind of taking his anger out on Marina. Like we touched on during that bar scene earlier, these two have very opposing views of the world. And I said earlier that Marina was kind of dry, but she absolutely kills it in this scene. They both do, really. It's yet another one of those scenes that had me questioning what movie I was watching. Well, anyways, the two of them share a little kiss like we all knew they would, and of course, what kind of visit to the elves would it be without some elven gifts? Ridley specifically gets a cool new elven sword. The gang heads to where they are supposed to be able to find the red dragon rod, scepter, staff thing. It's kind of used interchangeably, but Ridley is the only one allowed in. Ridley goes on a fun little trip through this cave and eventually reaches a door with a red dragon on it who just happens to be missing an eye. Well, it's a good thing he's got a solution for that, and once he puts it inside, the door opens and there is a bunch of treasure and stuff everywhere, and he has this fun kind of character moment where he starts looting all this stuff because, of course, like anybody would be excited to see all of this, but then he remembers why he's there and that this is not the point, and so he puts it all back. I like that kind of stuff. That was a good character moment for him. And also there is this talking skeleton who is holding the red dragon rod, which is called the Rod of Sevril. I knew I wrote it in here later. And the skeleton is actually Sevril himself, who created the rod. Skeletor warns Ridley that he can have the staff, but there is a curse to it, and that it takes someone special to be able to break that curse. We will come back to that pretty shortly, but for now, we have got a date with some dragons. More racially ambiguous dragons. Great. So this is the power that the Empress's scepter held. She can control these dragons, and it makes sense that she didn't want to use it against Profion earlier and was trying to settle things civilly. You know, she's a good guy. She's not supposed to jump to violence. But then it's just kind of like the only thing that can threaten the power of her rod is the other rod with the red dragons. Like, it was supposed to be a backup for her, but now it is just kind of the one thing that could really fuck up everything for her. Back to the gang though. Uh-oh, look who shows up. Old lipstick boy. He grabs Marina and kind of gives Ridley no option but to give up the rod or he's gonna kill Marina. And so of course Ridley gives him the rod, and then Damodar brings it to Profion. And surprisingly, in this moment, Profion keeps his promise to Damodar and he cures him of whatever the hell he put in his bald ass head. Yeah, I know, friendly fire. Personally, I think it would have hit pretty hard if after all we saw Damodar do throughout the movie, all to serve Profion, if Profion just turned around and betrayed him, it kind of seems like the more evil thing to do. Maybe the only character trait we know about Profion is that he's evil. I don't know, it doesn't really make sense that he kept his promise here. I think it would have been better for a character moment for him not to. All good, doesn't really matter. Just something I thought about while watching it. I was like, oh, I can't believe that he cured him. But with the rod, Profion does successfully summon a horde of red dragons, but he's not quite out of the woods yet because Ridley followed Damodar through his portal, and now the two are having a sword fight, during which both of them are sporting some new weapons. And it was really easy to miss in their last fight, the fight after Snails died. Ridley actually lands a hit on Damodar that could have, done some real damage, but his sword wasn't quite strong enough to pierce Damodar's armor, and so it's cool now when he does eventually get a hit on Damodar, it seems to hurt him. Although they kind of throw this all away when they have Ridley do this fucking backflip, backstab, trick shot, but you know, it doesn't look like he goes through the armor, so I guess it doesn't really ruin anything. It just, I don't know, I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. He's gonna use this new sword to kill Damodar. I guess all I needed to do is hit the fucking 360 ladder stall, no scope, whatever. Damodar gets thrown off the tower to his presumable doom, just like Snails did before, which is really good full circle shot actually. And now that Bad Guy Jr. is out of the way, it is time for the BBEG. We don't need the entire play-by-play for this scene like I've been doing for pretty much this whole movie. Basically, Ridley manages to get the staff away from Profion, and while he's holding it, he realizes that it's the power that this staff holds that is the curse. And so, to get rid of that, the only thing he can do is destroy the staff, which is exactly what he does. The Empress shows up then, and while Profion does his best to take her down, he is no match for her dragons, and that's GG's for Profion. And thankfully for fucking everybody, the red dragons just decide to piss off, and they don't stick around and destroy things like they probably really would, but whatever, it's a movie, I get it. It's supposed to be the happy ending. There's yet another CGI flyover shot, and it feels appropriate now that we are kind of at the end of our tale to acknowledge what I meant earlier when I said that the IMDb summary was really funny. And actually, hang on, let me read it again. Profion, a tyrant, attempts to overthrow a peaceful kingdom ruled by a tough empress. The only two characters it mentions are Profion and the Empress, and both of them are on screen for all of a handful of scenes. I think Damodar is on screen for like double the amount of time that either of the other two are like combined, and Ridley and the others are in it for way more than that. I guess, you know, it is kind of a generic movie. It's a very generic summary, so I get it. And with the last scene upon us, it seems that somehow Snails is maybe not dead and is inside the Eye of the Dragon thing, which kinda negates everything I said earlier about death sticking and mattering, but I could be wrong about this. I don't know, it erased his fucking name from the headstone, so presumably he's not dead is what it's trying to say. I don't know. I don't even understand it, so I'm not gonna go being upset about it. But that's it, folks. There is no MCU post-credit scene. Trust me, I checked. And there is, however, a sequel to this movie. But before we're done with this movie and worrying about another one, I have one very important question to answer. Is the Dungeons & Dragons movie released in the year 2000 as bad as the critics say? No! No, it is not. It is cheesy. It has some seriously outdated CGI and such. The main antagonist is like the exact sort of bad guy that a 5-year-old would come up with. I still genuinely don't know the dwarf guy's name. I wish I was joking. I'm not. The acting is wildly inconsistent. The writing can be pretty painful to listen to at times, and the actual Dungeons & Dragons representation is shockingly bad considering Gary Gygax is apparently a part of this movie, but wow, that was a lot. But it's not all bad. They really sell the relationship between Ridley and Snails way better than plenty of other movies tend to sell friendships. Marina really came into her own acting-wise. There were some really good, solid emotional character moments, and there were some decent D&D feeling moments, like with the elf guy who, you know, talks about how elves are magic, and I swear there was other things I had in mind, but I can't remember them right now. But the point is that this movie, while mostly not good, is still full of some really solid stuff. I would not give this movie a 9% like the critics on Rotten Tomatoes have. Fuck them. Go read their reviews. The reviews are worse than the movie. I would not even give this movie a 20%, which is the audience score. I'd probably give it like, fuck. I guess if I'm trying to be objective, I'd probably give it like a 3.8. 3.9, 38, 39%, which is better than the other two scores. So I don't know. Yeah, it is better than I thought it was gonna be. And no, it is not that bad. But that is actually it though. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. And maybe if enough of you guys had fun in this video, then I will cover the second movie. This video is really just kind of an experiment. I think my channel is old enough now to just kind of fuck around and do fun stuff that I've been wanting to try. And you know, the people that are gonna watch it are gonna watch it, and the people that aren't. So let me know if this worked for you. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know if that second movie interests you at all. It interests me after watching this one, and I hope to see you all next time. GG's, everybody. And thankfully for everybody, all the red dragons just fuck off. It's probably not what a huge horde of red dragons would do. They're not, how you say, subservient in this? Well, I guess they are to the Githyanki, but that's because Tiamat basically sold them to the Githyanki. What am I even talking about? I don't even know what line I was on.